Music and cars have been tied together almost since the beginning. Not only do the rhythm of the songs connect with the rumbling of an engine, but both connect with people on a deep level. So much so that some people even see a connection where there isn't one. As one such story began, David Lee Roth of the band Van Halen said that a critic described his band's songs as all about women, partying, and cars. At this point, Roth realized that the band had never written a song about cars, so they penned the hit Panama. While it wasn't about a specific car, the song combined women and cars into one memorable song. And that's been a theme going back well over 100 years. Among the first big car songs, Gus Edwards and Vincent P. Bryan wrote In My Merry Oldsmobile in 1905. In an era before cars were ubiquitous, the curved dash Olds was the first mass-produced car. With thousands on the road, it was the car the largest number of Americans could appreciate, even if relatively few had owned one. It was aspirational to the average young person in the days before the Model T. With no roof, no doors, just one small bench seat, and a top speed of about 20 miles an hour, the Merry Oldsmobile was hardly a hot rod. The forward-thinking songwriters saw into the future on how the car could enhance a gentleman's love life. Young Johnny Steele has an Oldsmobile. He loves his darling little girl. She is the queen of his gas machine. She has his heart in a whirl. Now when they go for a spin, you know, she tries to learn the auto so. He lets her steer while he gets in her ear and whispers soft and low, "Come away with me, Lucille, in my merry Oldsmobile."
Down the road of life we'll fly, automobile calling, you and I, through the church we'll swing his gate, and our wedding bells will ring. You can go as far as you like with me in my merry Oldsmobile.
Another popular song about cars came out as the Model T ended its long production run. Walter O'Keefe wrote about the classic car's successor in Henry's Made a Lady Out of Lizzie in 1928. Known as the Tin Lizzie, the Model T put the world on wheels, but by the end of its nearly two-decade run, it was being outpaced by much of the competition. So the Model A was the replacement for Lizzie and was much more modern. While there is some innuendo that could connect the car to the flesh and blood woman, lines like, "You know salesmen never lie," and "We own a Ford machine," always pull the listener back to a Model A. All the boys say, "Ain't she sweet? Henry made a lady out of Lizzie."
She travels at an awful pace. Henry's made a lady out of Lizzie. She's not the kind who tries to get your money all at once. She only wants $10 down, the rest in 14 months. Good for sister, nice for ma. Everybody rides but pa. Henry's made a lady out of Lizzie.
The 1950s, 1960s, and into the 1970s were a great time for car songs, with artists like Chuck Berry and the Beach Boys making driving a car cool. Maybelline and 409 are among the most memorable, but there were so many more. From 1951's Rocket 88 by Jackie Brenston and his Delta Cats, to the recent songs like White Mustang by Lana Del Rey, there have been literally hundreds of songs, maybe thousands, about cars and driving. While I am overlooking a few of my favorites, like Radar Love by Golden Earring, Driver's Seat by Sniffin' the Tears, Prince's Little Red Corvette, Cars by Gary Newman, and of course, I Can't Drive 55 by Sammy Hagar, I have left a few modern examples. The German electronic band Kraftwerk released their album Autobahn in 1974. One of their most iconic records, Autobahn contains just 5 songs, 4 of which are on the second side. On side 1, the title track is long, like the 8,000-mile road it's named after. Starting out with someone getting into a car and driving off, the song drones on and on for 22 and a half minutes. Throughout the tune, a few lyrics are peppered into the mostly instrumental track, primarily, "We're fahren, fahren, fahren auf der Autobahn," which translates into, "We drive, drive, drive on the Autobahn." A 3.5-minute version hit the American charts, but sadly I couldn't find a recording of Casey Kasem from May of 1975 when it peaked in number 25. The next song was based on a short story appearing in the November 1973 issue of Road and Track. A Nice Morning Drive by Richard Foster talked about a time in the distant future of 1982 when the government requirements on personal cars made them merely transportation and not fun to drive, except for a few older models that remained drivable. The story tells of an MGB stored away by our hero Buzz, who would dust off the 15-year-old car occasionally to enjoy the rural roads in spite of the laws. On their 1981 album Moving Pictures, the Canadian band Rush turned this tale into Red Barchetta. In this version, the storyteller's uncle had a country place that no one knows about. He says it used to be a farm before the motor law. Our hero would sneak out of the city to visit his uncle where he kept the 50-odd-year-old car from a better vanished time. Rush's singer Geddy Lee describes the illegal acts of tires spitting gravel across the mountainside, the details of mechanical music, well-oiled leather, and sunlight on chrome, and shrieking tires dance over the trio's speeding music that just adds to the feeling of wind in your hair and back roads before heading back home to dream with my uncle by fireside. The song combines the up-tempo excitement of youthful exuberance and the sheer joy of driving. Just as up-tempo and much more hopeful is this last song by another Canadian. Tom Cochrane had a few hit songs with his band Red Rider, many about growing up in Canada, for good or bad. But his biggest hit in America was such an uplifting song that it hit the US top 10 in 2 different versions. In 1992, Tom Cochrane released the song Life is a Highway, which discusses the ups and downs we come across as we travel through life. He would take this song to number 6 on the chart that year, and fueled by the animated movie Cars, American country act Rascal Flatts would send it back up the charts to peak at number 7 in 2006.
Through all these cities and all these towns, it's in my blood and it's all around. I loved you now like I loved you then. This is the road and these are the hills. From Mozambique to those Memphis nights, the Khyber Pass to Vancouver's lights. Knock me down and back up again. You're in my blood, I'm not a lonely man. There's no load I can't hold. The road's so rough, this I know. I'll be there when the light comes in. Just tell them we're survivors. Life is a highway. I wanna ride it all night.
Tell them all we're survivors. Life is a highway. While you're on that highway, stop by the Boyertown Museum of Historic Vehicles in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. The newly renovated museum has lots of great displays, including early Pennsylvania-built cars and trucks, and other things along the highway, including an old Sunoco gas station and the restored Fagley's Diner, not to mention a display of the highway itself, the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Have a great day.